You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Network. This is your host, Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Welcome in, fellas.
Hello.
Howdy.
All right, guys, it's a Sportscast edition. We got your quarterback carousel. We're going to go through the quarterback carousel. This offseason, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks being moved. A lot of mediocre quarterbacks being moved, if that. But we're going to get into that, talk about that. We're going to have the headlines as well. Stick around, guys, right after this. All right, guys, it's good to be back. I was off last week. We went on vacation. We'll get into that on the spotlight of not spotlight of the week, but what's in our locker at the end of the segment, guys. I watched the show last week. You guys did. Kudos. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of quarterbacks moving around here, and I wanted to go through them and talk a little bit about each of them. And then at the end of the segment, I want to answer the question: who you guys think will have the most success going to a new football team? So we're going to start off with Derek Carr going from Vegas to New Orleans. Craig, what do you think about that pickup for the Saints?
I mean, he's better than Jameis Winston. That's clearly. Michael Thomas loved it. I mean, Thomas was on Twitter just going bonkers. I think it gives them a solid guy behind center that can command the offense and throw the football and but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it puts them in contention. I wouldn't say it puts them in contention in the NFC. I mean, I think they can win that division because that division's terrible.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I agree with you. I think it's a solid pickup for them, especially with what their quarterback position's been.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at
Taysom Hill is not a quarterback.
Hill and no, yeah.
What a horrible contract that was, and I think
they're trying to get away from that because the way they worded it was the more snaps he plays as quarterback, the more they have to pay him. So they're trying to, now that they have a real quarterback, they can get away from that.
That was Sean Payton's last FU to the Saints before he left.
Yeah.
What a horrible contract it was. But
I'm going to mess up the salary cap and
I'm going to pay running back a quarterback salary and
this whatever they call that.
It's such a weird thing that he did, but I like the move. Derek Carr's been a solid quarterback. This is going to put a little bit more. What do you call it? Just leadership, veteran football player there, and I think it's going to be a good move, especially if they keep their weapons and their running back gets beating people up in elevators. I think they might have a good shot. But like I said, they'll probably win. They have a good shot at winning the division, but I don't know if they're going to compete in the NFC. Jeff, what do you feel about that?
I want to say this is probably it's either put up or shut up for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
This is kind of it.
Could be his final
Um,
contract. I mean,
It could be.
yeah.
I could see that. He did it. He was there for so long in Oakland. Yeah, well, in LA now, but he was there for so long that it's just there's been countless times of great season play, flashes in games of greatness, and then falls apart towards the end of the season or falls apart in a playoff game.
I mean, his best season was the year he broke his leg and got hurt. Like he was
Right.
an MVP candidate, and they thought they had a deep playoff run, and at the end of the year, he breaks his leg.
Yeah, and it just I think this is going to be his. And I think just earlier I just read that the Broncos actually signed one of the wide receivers from the Saints. So I don't, it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a make or break for his starting career in the NFL.
Kind of a revenge tour too. I think.
Yeah.
I think with the way, because he wanted to stay in Vegas, and then they didn't let him, and I think it's his kind of revenge tour. Like if he doesn't do it in the first year, then he might not do it at all.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'll be under a microscope for the first year, for sure.
He was a class act with Vegas. He wanted to stay there. They said, "We don't want you." He feels a little shit. He has a problem with that, which I understand, and hopefully comes out on fire and gets going. And if he does, we the city of New Orleans rallied around Drew Brees and rallied around their coach, and especially after Hurricane Katrina, the city can rally around their quarterback a lot, like probably more than any other city in the league. I mean, and if Derek Carr can come in, play good, class act, win over the hearts of New Orleans, it could bode well for him. But he's got to first and foremost go play on the field. But
yeah, I mean, and he does have the luxury of the AFC's just getting weaker and weaker, or the NFC. Sorry.
The NFC, yeah, that is
especially
true.
that division. That division is horrific.
It's a dumpster fire. Well, let's talk about Jimmy G replacing Derek Carr with Las Vegas. I called this one. It was kind of an easy call because the freaking coach worked with him, Jimmy G, up there in New Orleans, or not New Orleans, but New England. And I just thought it was a good fit for Vegas to get someone in here that is going to be more comfortable with the system that Josh Daniels runs. And to me, Derek Carr and Jimmy G are almost alike. I think their play is similar pretty much. The numbers, Derek Carr's got a little bit better numbers, but G's has been to the Super Bowl. I just think I don't know if this is the move for the Vegas. I don't feel great about it. I don't want Jimmy G on my football team. I just don't. I mean, he wins games, but he doesn't. There's something about him that I just don't like. There's something about him that the Niners don't like, even though he has a winning record with the head coach. There's something about him when you watch him play. I just don't. And he's injury prone. I just don't like it.
I mean, the thing is McDaniel's getting him years removed. Many years removed from that situation. So what kind of player is he now compared to what he was when he was under Tom Brady? Probably not that great.
To me, he played so well in San Francisco because the coaching was so good.
Oh, yeah. And he had a running back and a defense and a lot of...
To me, there's nothing that I watched the game and said, wow, Jimmy G is the real reason they won this football game. He didn't screw it up, but I don't think he came out there and just threw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. And I don't know. I think Craig, you like Jimmy G a lot more than I do. I'm not a big Jimmy G guy, but how do you feel about him going to Vegas? You think he could turn it around because he's got weapons, he's got a familiar system that if it's somewhat the same, so that could bode well in his favor. But is that enough to Is that enough to put the Raiders where they need to be? I just don't think it is.
Well, me and Jeff talked about it last week. I don't think the plan. I think the plan was always for him to supersede Brady. That was the plan. That was Belichick's plan. That was McDaniel's plan. That was the plan. The owner went and got struck while the iron was hot and got what he could get for him and kind of cut off both Belichick and McDaniel. That's when McDaniel left. He's like, well, I don't have my guy, so I'm going to go and try to find somebody. And he's bounced around the league. He went back. He went to the Denver deal. That didn't work, and he went back. But he's wanted Jimmy G from this is everywhere he's gone. The word Jimmy G has followed McDaniel where he was going to go to Denver. He was going to go here. He was going to go there. And it's followed him everywhere he's went. Now he's got his guy. So it's, again, like we said in New Orleans, put up or shut up time. McDaniel will be out on his ear if this doesn't work because he went to ownership and said, I want my guy. And they went and got him. And here's your guy.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work now, then he's out. And the way they did the contract, they're not on the hook for a bunch of guaranteed money. Like they can get out of it pretty easily. So they'll move on from him quickly if it doesn't work. He wins. It doesn't matter if it's pretty. It doesn't matter if it's. He reminds me a lot of Dak Prescott. Prescott's numbers aren't great, but he's successful. He hasn't had the playoff success like Jimmy G has, but he wins 10, 12, 13 games a year. The only drawback from Garoppolo is the injuries. If he can stay healthy, I don't know if he can stay healthy in Vegas or not. They're not known for their offensive line isn't some juggernaut. He's going to have some pressure on him that he didn't have in San Francisco for sure. So we'll see if he can stay healthy, but he wins. You know, I told you that the 49ers win the division if Garoppolo's the quarterback, and I mean, they did. He was the quarterback for most of it, but I mean, you know,
Mystery irrelevant over there.
I don't have the faith in Lance. Brock Purdy seems to be the answer, but we don't know how healthy he is. But Garoppolo, is he successful? He was successful in the New England system. Similar system over in San Francisco. He was successful there. I like his chances, especially with the weapons he has.
Yeah, his weapons.
I don't know how happy Adams is to have him.
He's not happy. We saw the post after when they got him, and he was not happy. So,
I mean, he's in a tough division that. Tough division with some defenses that are tops. Some top 10, top whatever in the NFL, and so he's gonna have a battle. That's for sure.
Yeah, that division is not the one he played in. That's going to be a much tougher.
No, especially if they rely heavy on the pass, or if they, I don't know what McDaniel's ideas are, but if they rely heavy on the pass, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and if Russ goes back to Russ, and you got to play Mahomes, and you got to put that division. That's that, and then Herbert, yeah, that division. That's 6 games a year that aren't in your favor right off the bat.
6 games a year that everyone's trying to tune into because
even
if it's not your division.
But what I'm saying is I don't see Vegas with Jimmy G going into any of those 6 as the favorite, even when they play them at home. I don't see them. They'll never be the favorite against Kansas City. They might be the favorite against San Diego at home. Denver, it'll just depend on what Denver, what Denver team shows up. But I mean, that's 6 games a year. I mean, that's brutal. That's how Dallas is successful every year, is because that division's been terrible until this year. It was almost 6 free wins a year, 5 basically every year.
That may have been a little harsh on Jimmy G because he has 2 things going for him with the Raiders: familiar system and weapons. So that he does have that advantage on a lot of these other quarterbacks.
But I mean, I think the thing is McDaniel's. McDaniel's knows him from back then before he started, before the success and all this stuff, Jimmy G has been running a system with Shanahan for how long now? How long has he been in San
5 years?
Francisco?
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and so is McDaniels going to change that? Is he going to run a different system? Is he going to do the same thing? Because if he's going to do the same thing, then they're going to run first team, pass second.
He's going to do the same system he had with Eric Carlos last year. I mean, pretty much. They're pretty much in exchange. They're almost the same quarterback, in my opinion.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I'm
It's-
like, in terms of skill set, these guys are similar. I mean,
No, yeah. I mean, there's a video out that says you swapped one mediocre quarterback for another mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just,
there's been a lot of those, and
that's all the way around. I mean, that's Carr for Mariota. I mean,
Mariota goes, and
not Mariota.
Heineke, and
I mean, it's just nobody is head and shoulders above the other.
Yeah.
One. And
that's why this list is. I mean, the best quarterback on this list might be Derek Carr. That Baker Mayfield is some years. It's just it's that crazy of a list here. But
I just love. I see. I'm a huge Baker fan just because of the whole persona and
I love the attitude.
Like, I'm taking over for the GOAT. That's why they wanted me. Who else would they wanted? I love it.
One thing that
we'll have to do an episode of which quarterback we think is next in the XFL.
Oh yeah, there's probably quite a few on this list.
Baker's probably top right at that list.
There's some names on the list. I didn't even know who the hell they were. I didn't even put them on here. I was like, I have no clue who this guy is. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him. Never heard of her. Well, we were talking about the Niners. Well, they got Sam Darnold. Why did you go out and get Sam Darnold? Is that just a backup insurance card in case?
And that's what Jeff said last. That's exactly what Jeff said last week. Was because of the injuries they've had, that it's just insurance because they lose Garoppolo. They had a running back playing quarterback in the NFC Championship, so they're going out and getting an insurance policy because we're not 100% sure that Purdy's UCL.
We don't believe in Lance
We don't believe in Lance one bit, and it seems like anybody, including you, me, or Jeff, could go in the 49ers system. Good, I guess. So I guess
start icing my shoulder here.
He's going to be the only guy that gets success from Sam Darnold. He's been in the league, and good on Darnold for continuing to use his number one draft pick status to get job after job after job and hang on to the NFL.
To be below average.
You just cash checks.
Yeah. We also got Taylor Heineke to Atlanta. He finally gets out of Washington with the disrespect they put on this guy's name there in Washington. He had a chance to lead the team to the playoffs, and the coach said, no, we're going to start Carson Wentz. Just stupid. I'm glad he got out of Washington. Is he the starting quarterback in Atlanta? Because I don't know who else they got. They got rid of Marcus Mariota, who I thought had a decent. I mean, for Marcus Mariota, had a decent year last year.
He did until he went home and just took his toys and went home.
But I've always liked Taylor Heineke.
He's a solid 2.
He's like
a 1.
He's like a cheaper Baker Mayfield without the attitude. He's very humble.
Yeah.
He's very very cool guy from what you hear in his interviews. He plays a lot like Baker, in my opinion, but he's not the guy. He's just not the guy. He's a good backup.
He's a placeholder until they draft somebody.
Yeah.
It's just like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton goes to Carolina.
That's another one.
Another one that we've seen him around the league, and you're going, okay, why is this guy still in the
I thought he'd be in the booth this year.
I could see him in a booth eventually.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham goes to Denver to be a backup for Russ. He's a young quarterback that we haven't seen much from. But he played with Vegas last year. He got some playing time last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked
the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So we don't know much about him. Just a kind of a young backup for Russell.
One thing is interesting about it in terms of style. I'm not saying he's the same as Russell Wilson because he's not, but in terms of style, he
What
likes to
Russell are we
run. He
talking
likes to
about?
run. He likes to run, throw on the run or whatever. So from what I could tell, at least in the two games I like looked at just highlight wise, interesting. Good. I think it's a solid backup for that Peyton picked. So
It's a very upsided get, right? Because we don't
Right.
know much about him. It's a low risk, high reward type thing.
right.
If Russell goes down with an injury, heaven forbid, or Sean Payton benches him because he just looks to be dumpster fire
Whoa.
this season like last year,
Where did Craig go?
then maybe you could put it in. I don't know. When we get 3 on, his internet sucks, but we're just going to keep on rolling. It's a decent pick. It's a low risk, high reward type of move.
the one of the interesting things is, and I didn't even know this. He had surgery on his knee.
Did he?
Russell Wilson. Yeah. So I don't know if that was something
Probably just to
ailing
clean up.
him. I don't know if that was something ailing him this season, and they decided to not maybe just wait it out and see something. I don't know, but he got banged up quite a bit. I think our offensive line allowed the most sacks all year. So I don't know what happened there, but he did end up having to get surgery. But it's not going to affect opening day or anything. So
we got Jacoby Brissett leaving Cleveland and going to Washington. He'll be another backup there. I think. He will compete for the first spot because the Washington Redskins have a rookie in their first spot, and I can't even think of his name, Sam Howell. And apparently Sam Howell, from what I've heard, is supposed to be the next big thing, and they've kind of been holding him back. So he's going to compete with Brissett for the starting job in Washington, and we'll see. But
you can just have executives holding him back. No, you're not doing it.
Shade him to the grass. He's not going anywhere. Mike White's made himself quite a name with New York last season, as he played quite a bit because the fact that their first round draft pick has not turned out to be the player they thought he was going to be so far, and now he's going to Miami. And this is a really good pick up for me, in my opinion. You go into Miami where the quarterback is going to have concussion issues or injury issues. We know this. Okay, hopefully he turns that around. But if he doesn't, we've seen Mike White come in games for the Jets with lesser talent and win.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good move. I think the players, the offensive talent that the Dolphins are going to have, if Mike White does have to come in and play a game, there's Craig.
AT&T at its finest.
At its finest. I have AT&T, but you're kind of out in the middle. Well, not in the middle of nowhere, but you're out in the country.
I can't even blame my son today. He's not home.
Yeah, taking up all the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We were. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Sorry, we're talking about Mike White, and I was telling Jeff that Mike White made a name for himself last year because the Jets' star quarterback.
Yeah.
I picked him up. I picked him up in a late in fantasy, and he was great.
And he showed us that he could come in and win some games. So him going to be backup for Tua whenever Tua gets a concussion, because it's coming apparently. With those weapons out there in Miami,
I love how you're predicting that. That's so God.
Well, he had 8. I mean, I don't even.
Oh man,
he only died twice on the field.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
But I just think with the weapons that Miami has, the defensive talent they have, I think Mike White could come in here and seamlessly not skip a beat and win some games if he had to step in for Tua. But he's clearly a backup right here going over to Miami.
That's going to be interesting to look at. Honestly, I could see Mike White doing something if Tua does end up going down, and
those
maybe
weapons? Absolutely.
Well, so Tua, is he in his last rookie year?
They picked up his 5th-year option.
So this is it.
This is it. They have to pay him, or they have to move on.
Oh man, this is.
Hoping for. Well, everyone's hoping for a healthy year because you never want to see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But they didn't
needs
extend him because of if he finishes all year last year, he probably has a contract.
Oh yeah.
They might have won the division.
The fact that he didn't he had multiple concussions, missed a bunch of games, didn't even clear concussion protocol until after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That puts the brakes on the contract, so they picked up the 5th-year option. But I mean, it's still for a first-round pick. It's still quite a bit of cash for the
not months
Right.
after, but months after the season. My bad.
Yeah, it's. I think it's great. That's a great pickup. I like Mike White.
Dallas had him. Yeah, that's one of those that they got rid of. He was the backup, and they never gave him an opportunity. He was on the practice squad for years.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
Casey Keenum goes from Buffalo to Houston. Another no name. That's
God,
nothing.
He's still in the league.
Guys, cashing checks.
God,
cashing checks, holding clipboards.
Cooper Rush from Dallas to Dallas. I was like, what? Why would he even be on the list? He didn't go nowhere.
Because technically he was a free agent for a minute.
Marcus Mariota leaves to go to Eagles. He's a good backup quarterback. That's all he is.
They swapped Mariota for Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew goes to New Orleans, and so I guess
goes to Indy.
Oh, I thought I read that wrong. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
The thing you sent me said Indianapolis.
Okay, that makes sense.
Good backup.
Like, that's great. Yeah, but I was trying to figure out. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to? Because I guess they had given the option to
for Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston over there to go loose or stay on as a backup. I guess he chose to stay on as a backup and restructure his contract because he's not out on the market. So I guess he decided to stay. So I was trying to figure out. I was like, oh, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, Indy's a good spot for him because Matt Ryan is not going to play all year. And
no, they didn't. Did they not let him go?
I don't think they could financially. I think they're tied into some money.
He needs to be holding the clipboard because he's absolute trash now.
Yeah, and Marriott. So Minshew went there. That's a smart choice for Minshew.
Yeah, he'll be playing a lot of.
He'll be playing a lot.
Yeah, that's a good job interview. Yeah. There, you get multiple games to go play out there. That's a great move for him.
Baker Mayfield to the Rams, or Baker Mayfield from the Rams to the Bucks. Look, and I did a TikTok on him. I did also a TikTok on Derek Carr. I like Baker Mayfield. I'm with Craig. I like his attitude in college. I like his spunk. I just like Baker Mayfield. He was the best Browns quarterback that I've ever seen play. Okay. They were quick to get rid of him, but he's not going to, I mean, he's going to win maybe 9 games with the Bucks. Like that's the ceiling in my opinion. I don't think he comes in there and kills it. I just don't. I don't feel that way. Now he might because what's really tough is the last time we saw him play really good football with the Browns, he got hurt. He had a shoulder injury and
tore his labrum.
Yeah, and it's like okay, well then that's when they got rid of him and he goes off the plane with 24 hours notice and wins a game with the Rams and then he does nothing the rest of the season. So he's interesting. One thing that was going against Baker is his whole career. They've had a new offensive coordinator every single year.
That's what I told Jeff last week. I said,
you can't win that way.
You can't have any success when he had not only had a new offensive coordinator, he had a new head coach, the whole carousel. Every year he had somebody new. He hasn't had consistency since he's been in the NFL. And again, he's learning a new system going to Tampa, but he has weapons. I mean, Evans and there's 3 or 4 wide receivers over there that are studs over there. So I don't know about a running game because they've gotten rid of Fournette and all that, but he has plenty of weapons and the offensive line. If they come back healthy, he'll have a pretty solid offensive line. So this is 100%, 1,000,000% a make or break deal for. He may not even be in the NFL next year if this doesn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plus, I mean, you have to understand. Like, I don't think he would ever accept being a backup in the NFL.
No, it doesn't look like it.
I think if anything, it's like if I'm not going to be a backup, then I'm going to one of the other leagues.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this? There's been multiple rumors about the Rams trying to trade Stafford. Well, who's going to be your quarterback?
Yeah, no,
You get rid of Stafford, you got rid of Baker. Who's your quarterback?
They're
You
gonna
tell me.
trade for-
You
they're
tell
gonna
me.
trade for a pick.
You tell me McVay. Well, they don't have any first round picks to trade for picks.
Oh, that's true.
But you're going to tell me
They gave it to Detroit.
McVay's going to come back and sign up for no quarterback?
No. Get a first round pick for
I know.
him.
Oh, no one's giving a first round pick for Matthew Stafford.
Okay. Maybe they think so.
I mean, there's desperate teams out there.
There are desperate teams.
And they won the Super Bowl, yes, but that was a really good defensive team. And Matthew Stafford threw a lot of interceptions. I don't think he won them the Super Bowl. And now he's got injured, and you have no clue what he's going to be like when he comes back. And I just don't think someone's going to.
I don't know if that's shoulder because I don't think he had surgery. But they're just trying to hope and a prayer that healed itself with rest. You know.
Did he not have surgery? Let me look that up real quick.
I don't think so. I don't ever remember him being in a sling or any kind of. They sat him down when he had some other injuries with it, but I don't think he ever had surgery on that shoulder to fix it.
Yeah, you're right. He did. It says quarterback. Yep, he will not have surgery. So, and when you don't have surgery, it's just
not.
It's a lot of
it's not fit.
It's a lot of hope that
you're
natural healing. The natural healing is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, you better go to what is that place? The
Emmett Smith.
QC Kinetics over there, and hope he has some gene therapy. He's got the money to go to QC Kinetics.
Yeah, I went to I took my wife to QC Kinetics.
Not all of us did.
For her back, and they wanted $8,000. $8,000, and I was like, "I'm sorry,
we don't do insurance."
Yeah, they don't. It's considered what do they call it? Experimental.
Yeah, experimental
medicine. And they're like, we have to fix this joint in their back. It's gonna be $8,000. No, thank you. I'm thanks for wasting my time.
They steal your card. You're like, what the?
Yeah. All right. Well, after all those names we just went through, Jeff, you go ahead first. You give us the name on that list that you feel most confident will have the better career going forward with the team.
Oh, career.
Well, better year. I mean, a lot
year.
of these guys are probably on their last year contracts type of thing. But I'd
say Derek Carr. Derek Carr. I say Derek Carr because he's out from underneath the shadow of the AFC. Doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He's in an organization full of young talent, willing to soak up whatever he wants, whatever knowledge, experience that he has. And so he can kind of mold a little bit of that team to kind of fit him. And then obviously they will create some kind of scheme that will work with him. But I think, and plus also the fact that he is kind of ready to shut everyone up. I could see him doing that, but there's a big but. I think this would be the only year that it happens.
All right, Craig, go ahead and give us your.
As much as I want to say Garoppolo, that division frowns me from doing that because I just don't think that you get the free wins like you had in the NFC West. I'm gonna go on a crazy leg here and say Baker with the weapons that he has. In Godwin and Evans and Cameron Brate and the new coach that they have there. I just, again, you're going to learn a new system, but that offensive line stays healthy. I think Baker can put up some numbers down there. And again, that division, that is your biggest deal is you don't really have anybody. You're probably real close to the best quarterback in that division other than Carr. And so it's time to put up some numbers. It's time to put your Heisman Trophy up and do with what they thought you could do. And if you can't do it this year, well, then we'll see you when you come back to play it in the old Ranger Stadium
Renegades.
under your old coach over there.
Forgot about that.
Yeah,
Mike
so,
Stoops.
yeah, when you play,
It's all falling into place.
Yeah,
The plan.
It's all
Excellent.
coming together. It's all coming together. But yeah, I think that he has the weapons and he has everything. So there you have it.
It's tough for me because obviously, I mean, to me, Derek Carr is the best quarterback on the list.
Numbers wise,
yeah, you got Jimmy G who could thrive with his old coach. You got Baker Mayfield who could finally put it together. My gut, my head tells me one thing and my gut tells me another. But I want to go with Mike White, but I can't pick him because Mike White will rely on Tua getting injured.
yeah,
And I don't want to
can't pick
rely on
somebody
that.
who's not going to start.
Yeah. So I'm going to go. I got to go with Derek Carr. And just because better numbers than anybody else, he's going to a city that he feels wanted, right? Like he talked about that's why he came to New Orleans. They told me, I want you. We're gonna roll out the red carpet. We're gonna bring you here. Their team's really excited about it. This could be something that lights the fire. They have a good defense. He's playing in a terrible division. He's playing in an easier conference. So I could see them going out there and winning 11 games and really riding Derek Carr.
But will he get his own personal float on Mardi Gras?
Yeah. Well, here's the problem with Derek Carr is he's inconsistent.
Yes.
He'll have a year where he looks like an MVP candidate, and then he'll have a year next year where they win 5 games, and you're going, what in the world just happened? So, they really seem to like their head coach there in New Orleans. I just feel like it's between Derek Carr and probably Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G. But I'm interested to see.
I wouldn't trust the Jimmy G thing. I just wouldn't do it. I don't know.
Well,
something's weird about it. Something's so weird about that thing.
He, like I said, he's got his old coach. If they're going to run the same system, he's familiar with it. That's a bonus. And then you look at the weapons. This is probably the most talented football team he's had, weapon-wise on offense. Except they just traded away their tight end. What are you doing over there?
But I think when you're putting the constant pressure of making Jimmy G the guy who's going to turn the franchise around for Las Vegas, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah,
like,
I think
that's
and weapon-wise, they're not more stacked than the Niner team he just came from, with Deebo Samuel and that tight end that they have, and the other wide receiver Kittle, and then the other wide receiver. They're close.
They're close. They're not more. Okay, I take that back, but they're close. You got Devontae Adams, which could be arguably the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah,
Hunter Renfrow, one of the best slot wide receivers in football. Derek Waller, who they don't have anymore. But he was one of the best wide receiver tight ends in football. They have a good running game last year. So they were. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the 49ers definitely are more have more weapons, but
yeah, I just when you're putting the pressure on Jimmy G, I'm like,
yeah, I don't think
you're gonna do it for us. You're the one who's gonna take us out of the shadow of Mahomes.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate because I don't like Jimmy G. So I like to. What about this? What about that? Whatever. Anyways, all right. Well, we've answered the question. That's your quarterback carousel, guys. Let's get ready for the headlines of the week right after this. All right. Zeke Elliott made some news this week as he's apparently picked his 3 teams he wants to go to. He's picked the Bengals, the Jets, and the Eagles. But the question is, do they want him? That's the real question. me and Craig were talking about at work today. The Eagles said, "Wait a minute. We're not talking Ezekiel Elliott." Does Zeke have much left in the tank? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he does, but Bengals would be a. I mean, the Bengals want him. They have Mixon. Mixon's a good running back. Why would they go after Zeke?
To
1-2
spot,
punch, I guess.
Because they lost that guy that was backing him up.
I don't know his name, but
yeah.
I mean, he's a red zone guy.
he'd be a backup.
He's a red zone guy.
Good
Like,
backup.
I think if he would be good in a scheme where it's like, hey, it's first and goal for like a couple yards. Can you just barrel through and get us a touchdown, please? Because I think he's definitely going to be a 1-2 kind of punch per type of player now, but it's going to be situational. I don't think he's going to be starting like as soon as they start to run the ball on the 25. It's like, no, I don't think that's where he is. I think he's a red zone running back now, where it's like you're at the goal line, you're trying to barrel through. That's what I see, and that's what he did with the Cowboys last year. I mean, he didn't sit there and bust out. He basically was like, "Hey,
He didn't have 1,000 yards, but he had 13 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he was a goal line running back.
He has no more burst left. There's not a lot of.
Samaje Perine is who they lost, and so they do need somebody, especially since Mixon can't stay out of trouble. It seems.
It seems like he'll be in jail next thing you turn around.
So
I could see the Jets.
Well, and that's another thing. If you really get
Aaron Rodgers,
if you really get Rodgers, I mean, they're
That's
talking about Odell Beckham going there. They're talking about
Aaron Rodgers' list of demands.
Yeah, and
they're trying to stack the team for sure.
That's a better offensive line than you have in either place anybody else, And Miles Sanders just had the year of his career,
the best year of his
Philadelphia. So that offensive line,
I can't believe they let him go. Miles Sanders,
not for what they paid him. They paid him less than $6 million. We were talking about that last week. This running back deal. I mean, the Lions letting Williams go. The Eagles letting Miles Sanders go. It just doesn't make sense.
Jamal Williams would still be a Green Bay Packer if we didn't have a better 1-2 punch. We have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And we had Jamal Williams, and we're like, well, we got to get rid of one. I'm sorry, Jamal. He's a class act. He's hilarious. He pounds the ball. I cannot believe the Lions let him go.
Neither can I. He was the leading touchdown getter.
Didn't he set some records last year?
Yeah, he was basically the number one fantasy rush back. He hit over 1,000 yards. He had the most touchdowns in the NFL. And Swift is not. I talk about a guy who's injury prone.
Yeah,
DeAndre Swift is lucky to be on the field 8 games a year. So
they go out and get T.Y. Montgomery. Is it Ty Montgomery?
No.
What's his
the
name?
Other guy.
It's Montgomery, but I can't think of the
David
Montgomery.
Yeah, they go.
And he was hurt last year. I mean,
and again, they only pay him $6 million. I mean, Williams came out and said that the offer the Lions gave him was laughable. He didn't ever say what it was, but he said it was just disrespectful.
Yeah,
like we're just not going to.
Well, and that's the other thing is that's one of the reasons. Another reason why I picked, going up to our last segment, why I picked Derek Carr was because now he's got a great running back that is
a tool.
Yeah,
don't forget about Kamara.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I don't know who wants him. I'm not a big fan of Zeke. The Jets would be a good one. The Bengals for a backup. The Eagles, I think Zeke put that in there just to kind of sting Jerry Jones and
the Cowboy fans. That was all.
Yeah,
I actually laugh if that happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I had said, wouldn't it be funny for him to catch on in the East and stick it to the Cowboys twice a year? He would love nothing more.
Yeah,
and to do just that.
Well, I learned something from you today, Craig. Kyle Murray is going to miss what you said, 6 games.
Roughly, that's They're saying that it's going to be mid-season before he comes back.
Ew.
That is not a good start for the new head coach there. We're not from what I got for the show from us talking about Arizona and Kyle Murray. We're not believers in this team or this quarterback, are we? Anybody out there fighting for this?
Well, no, and I don't even. If you told me for $1 million name the Cardinals backup, I don't. I mean, Skelton maybe, but that's probably years ago.
Why have they not made a move? All these quarterbacks going everywhere, and your quarterback's going to miss 6-8 games.
I
and
don't.
he's not.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, unless they just try to grab some no name out of the draft. I don't know.
I don't know what pick they got.
Colt McCoy.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
There's your guy.
Captain Clipboard himself talking about cashing checks for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy has made a career out of that.
He's made a career out of
Playing one game a year. Yeah.
UT. That's where he got his name and fame. But Arizona Cardinal fans can't feel
No.
They can't feel comfortable at all with that news.
Yeah, I heard that today, and I was like, what?
And then
It's like, that makes no sense.
your team hasn't made a trade, but the Hopkins trade looming, getting rid of his best weapon.
What a strange organization.
Yeah.
Just a strange place. You know, just with all the craziness going on, even whenever they were like, Sean Payton's going to talk to I'm like, he isn't going to Arizona.
No one wants to work with
that's
a
a
quarterback.
joke. That's a
And you
joke.
honestly want to tell me that Kyle Murray picked this head coach?
Well, yeah, I
I
think
mean-
the defensive coordinator head coach.
Yeah. Who what are we? I don't know. Not only all that, you talk about the weird public display of hate for each other between the ownership and Kyle Murray. And then instead of sitting there going, we got to get rid of him, they sign him up to a long-term contract. What the heck? You sit here and you say he plays video games too much and he doesn't study and all that crap. And he's just childish.
That you can't get out of for a couple of years.
And then you sign him up because you fell victim to, well, what else are we going to do?
Get rid of him, tank, get a first round.
Yeah, the Lamar Jackson's about. I mean, the Ravens are about to do the same thing.
Right.
All right. Well, here we go. Jets and Packers trade talks come to a halt. Now, I've actually heard that Green Bay Packers will hold on to Aaron Rodgers until about the draft because we're in no hurry to trade him. We don't have to be. Craig thinks we talked about this a little bit too. Craig thinks the Jets have all the chips on the table. I think Packers hold them over a barrel. The Jets' only option of succeeding this season is Aaron Rodgers. They put all their chips in all their eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket, and if they're not willing to budge on what they're giving and they don't get them, who do you got? You got nobody. Now you could draft somebody and you could move up in the draft and maybe draft a quarterback, but they want Aaron Rodgers. Apparently, the Jets aren't budging on giving up the number 13 pick this season. And the Packers are going, hey, we're trading the 3-time MVP, Hall of Famer. We want our money's worth. Now, I get it. If Aaron Rodgers isn't traded and he retires, we lose $40 million. If he plays for us next year and he retires the year after, we lose $60 million. The only way to get rid of our money would be to trade him and get some relief. But if I'm Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of Packers, I'm doing exactly what they're doing. And if you're not willing to budge, I'm going to force your hand. What else are you going to do? Who's going in as quarterback?
I mean, they'll just use the greatness of Zach
Wilson. Great old Zach Wilson, who pisses off his whole teammate because he can't stay out of he can't say the right things in the locker room. His mom won't shut up.
He bought them the wrong gifts. He bought them all scooters. They didn't want scooters.
Look, yeah, the Jets have no other option other than either draft a quarterback, which you could probably have to trade up to get a good one, or Aaron Rodgers. And if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I'm going to call their bluff. I'm going to hold on to Aaron Rodgers until they change it. Because let me not forget, we've been held hostage lots of times by Aaron Rodgers in his career. Aaron Rodgers is still under contract for Green Bay. So if we want to stick it to him, we can literally be like, we don't like this offer. And if he's like, well, then I'm going to retire and be like, bye-bye, Birdie. We already got our quarterback. We know who's quarterback next year for the Green Bay Packers.
I don't know. That's getting nothing for him.
We are. What's a 4th round pick gonna give me? Nothing for Aaron Rodgers. I'm fine with it. I am so over the Aaron Rodgers drama every season. I'm done with it. And who knew somebody could go out? I did not. If you told me Aaron Rodgers went out worse than Brett Favre of the Green Bay Packers, I would not have believed you. But this is way worse than what Brett Favre did. And Brett Favre,
because they signed him back to that contract.
they signed. He goes out and says, the rumor is that Aaron Rodgers wants $50 million. He comes out and says that is wrong. What does he do? He signs a $50 million contract. What does he do? He calls out Adam Schefter, says, "You're an idiot. Lose my number. You don't know what you're talking about." And it turns out everything that Adam Schefter said was true, you moron. Oh, I'm so done with Aaron Rodgers. I'm so done. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. And I'm ready for the Air Jordan Love era to go. And I know I don't care if he's good or not. I'm just done with Aaron Rodgers.
Somebody save this episode so when Jordan Love tanks like Shamu and Brian's like, "I hate that guy! Get rid of him!" Well, episode 193, let's play that back. I don't care if Jordan Love is bad at football.
See, and that's what...
As we put his mom and his girlfriend in the nosebleed section at the stadium.
That's what the Packer fans don't get. They're like, "Well, Jordan Love won't be good." I don't care. There's a time. It's time to move on with Aaron Rodgers, whether Jordan Love's good or not. And I don't think he's going to be that good.
Before you gave him the $12 billion contract.
The time to move on was last season. Yeah. I know. I'm going to go find it.
Talk about holding over the barrel.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers holds us over the barrel all the time. Where he's held hostage. He comes out at the end of the season and says, "I know Green Bay needs a quick decision. I'm gonna give it to him." Then he takes a 4-day darkness retreat, which taught us nothing. There's no answer after that.
I see where you got your negotiation skills, though.
Terrible.
They're the same as the Packers.
I cannot. No comment. All right, I cannot make an offer letter go through faster. There's nothing I can do with it. But anyway, that's my Aaron Rodgers rant. I'm ready to move on. When this trade happens, I'll be happy. I think I've seen a lot of, honestly, in a lot of Packer fans online starting to switch over to all right, Aaron Rodgers.
They were switching about mid-season last year.
Yeah. So my question to you is, if this doesn't go through and they don't release him or he doesn't retire,
Jordan Love's our quarterback next year.
But what if it doesn't happen?
Jordan Love's our quarterback next year.
But what if that didn't happen?
Then we'll waste another season because Aaron Rodgers refuses. We saw it last year. He refuses to put the work in. Look at Patrick. Last year, Patrick Mahomes gets a whole new wide receiving core. He takes him to Texas. They work out. They get on the same page, which is what Jordan Love's doing right now. What does Aaron Rodgers do? He goes to Africa and smokes some freaking whatever and does some hallucinogens. And then he gets back here and blames everybody else because they're not on his level and the same page. Guys, it's an absolute joke. And Brian Gutekunst came out and basically said, if Aaron Rodgers was all in, we would have took him back. He's not all in here. We watched a season of it. He wasn't ever all in last season with the Green Bay Packers. Ever last season.
When he came back from his darkness retreat and said retirement was basically after saying that he was willing to play for the Jets, now he comes out and says that the darkness retreat screamed retirement,
90% retirement, 10% coming back.
Yeah.
And what does Michael Irvin always said?
If I'm the Jets, that's what's holding me up. Not the offer, not the whatever the asking price is. What's holding me up is I read that he's 90% out on football. And
the darkness retreat, apparently. Like he went in the darkness retreat 90-10 and came out and wanted to play for the Jets.
Oh, see, no, I read it the opposite way. I read it. He went to the darkness retreat as he went into the darkness and saw You need to hang it up.
I read it as he was 90-10 going into it, and when he came out, he wanted to play. And he said that.
If I'm the Jets, I'm sending him back on a first-class ticket to the darkness room until the job's done.
He came out and said,
or I'm taking all the light bulbs out of my locker room. One of the two.
He came out and said, I want to play football, and it was obvious the Packers didn't want me back, and we don't, because you're not all in. We should have traded him last year. I said that last season. You trade him hot off of 2 back-to-back MVPs. You're going to get a couple first-round picks. It's going to be amazing. What do? You hold on to him. You let him ransom you into paying him more money, and he holds you hostage. It's an absolute joke. And you want to hear my rant number 2, because they're coming back-to-back. Oh. Can we please, for the love of God, stop making this Lamar thing bigger than it needs to be? This isn't about him being African-American. This isn't about anything else. It's basically the simple fact that if anybody wants to trade for him right now with a tag, they have to give up 2 first-round picks for a guy who's injury-prone, who quit on his team last season, who couldn't even show up on the sidelines to watch your team play a playoff game, who relies on his legs so much. What's the first thing that goes in an athlete? It's their legs. Why do you want to pay him, give him 2 first-round picks for a guy that quit on his team? I'm not touching him. 31 other NFL teams said, I'm not paying that either, and I'm not touching him. That's as simple as that. Everyone wants to make it about everything else. Everyone wants to make it about, oh, he's a black quarterback. No one wants to pay a black quarterback. Same Cam Newton.
Mahomes got paid.
It's stupid.
Jalen Hurts is probably going to get paid.
Mahomes will get paid.
If there's any money left.
Mahomes got paid.
Yeah, people. And actually, the deal with Mahomes.
Dak Prescott got paid. What do people talk about?
The Mahomes contract is stupid in Mahomes' part. But everyone wants to make it about something else. He's being blackballed. They're blacklisting him. They're all out to get Lamar. No, it's a simple fact of the things I just listed. And that's it. The people want to bring everything else. People want to make up their own crap. And it's not.
The thing is also about it is that whoever he goes to, they have to mold around him
because he can't throw the ball like a quarterback.
He can't adjust to a scheme that's already working on another team, and so that's kind of a problem. And so you don't want to have to do that, because if you start doing that, then all the teams in the NFL at this point, when they go up against you, they're going to know exactly what you're going to do. They're going to know exactly what you're going to do, because you've molded this whole offense around a person and their abilities, and their abilities are kind of not as vast.
Your limit
as Michael Mahomes possibly.
And then when they figure that out, the offensive coordinator goes, "Oh hell, what else are we going to do?"
You can't change it.
He can't throw the ball like Patrick Mahomes. He can't throw the ball like these quarterbacks. So
and wait, with every day that goes by is another day closer to the season that he can't learn a new system, or can't work with the players, or nothing. So he's not going and working out with guys when he's on another roster.
Weird part is it was my team that took him out.
Was it?
Yeah.
When you got a guy that your coaching staff says this guy can play, and he has an injury that's going to miss 2 to 3 to 4 games, and he misses 7. You got a guy that's not. Why are you not on the sidelines holding the clipboard? You couldn't tell me that would have gave your backup quarterback some extra knowledge. Hey, Brett Hundley, this is what I see. This is my veteran eyes looking at this. This is what I'm seeing here. You not tell me they couldn't have beat. They almost beat the Bengals with a backup last year. And they're got a guy here going, well, we got a good defense. We always play good defense. We run the ball well. We almost won a playoff game with a backup quarterback. Why should we be held ransom for a quarterback that is limited? That we don't know if he's all in. You talk about being all in. And I know players look at it a little bit differently, like, oh, he needs to get paid, But this franchise has legitimate concerns. And I am not paying a quarterback that I don't believe can win me a Super Bowl. I don't think Lamar's ever won a Super Bowl. I'm not paying him. And that's what I said about Kyle Murray. I don't think Kyle Murray is winning the Super Bowl, and the Arizona Cardinals should have moved on from him. And what they do, even after they publicly came out and they both were fighting, they still paid him because there's the fans and franchise are so scared of, well, what are we going to do at the quarterback position? What are we going to do? Well, I know what paying a quarterback to be elite and him not is going to kill your franchise.
Brian knows from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just mind-boggling. And I'm hoping that the Ravens stick it to him. I want to see a team have the balls to say, this is your contract. You got to live up to it, or don't. Sit out. I don't care. We're moving on without you. You'll take the penalties. You won't make any money. I hope they do it because I want to see a team do that. I don't want to see a team cave in because the quarterback they don't like is a better option than their backup. But they almost won a playoff game with Brett Hundley or Tyler Huntley last year, and they like him. He's younger. I don't got to pay him all this money.
Yeah. No, I agree. The ransom that you're under with the 2 first-round picks and having to pay him, there's not anybody that's going to do that.
Nobody.
As soon as I heard that they put that exclusive tag on him to where that was the cost, I knew he wasn't going anywhere. So they did that. They did that to make sure he wasn't going anywhere.
And it's the right move by them.
If you really want him to play.
It's a right move for the franchise so he doesn't walk away. But hey, players, you don't like the franchise tag? Well, how about you negotiate your CBA better? The NFL is interesting because these players, they're the most watched sport in America. They make the most money out of any other sport in America. It's not even close, right? They dominate ratings. But they have one of the worst CBAs. These players get taken to the bank. And why do you think the owners are signing up Roger Goodell every season? Because they love him. He does so much for them. They're about to extend his contract again, I believe. And I'm like, you players think you get treated poorly, but you have to fight for it in the CBA. You got to hit the NFL where it hurts. Because I don't like the franchise tag if I'm a player. Definitely not. But it's part of the CBA. It's part of the rules. And I just think his lack of leadership. If I'm a player in that locker room and I think you quit on me last year, and then you come in next season and try and be a leader, get out of here. What do you mean, leader? You didn't show up for us when we needed you the most. How can you lead me?
Yeah, I don't really understand where it's been turned upside down, and I don't even know if there's even coming back from this.
I think he's completely wanting out. I don't think I don't. It's
he
hard,
does, but that's the problem. They don't, which I don't understand why they would want to hold on to him after he quit on you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I just hope the Ravens stick to their guns, and because the quarterback market it's just whoever's next. That's the problem with the NFL. How am I supposed to have a winning team and get guys on my team when my quarterback has to be paid $51 million because he's next up? My wide receiver's got to be paid 25, 26 because he's next up. It's just like, I don't care. I wanted to see you're not better than this guy. You're not getting paid. And if you don't like that, there's the door because it's getting outrageous.
And that's what everybody was screaming about when Prescott came available. That's what everybody will scream about with Jalen Hurts. But Hurts has got a little bit of a feather in his cap because he just took a team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's the deal is the next when Tua comes up next year, they're going to have a choice. You're either going to pay him $50 million or you're going to move on and deal. And Tua is going to be good. Tua and Mike White will be good enough this year to put Miami behind the 8 ball to where they won't have a high enough draft pick.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to pay Tua Tagovailoa, or you're gonna have to pay Mike White, and now you might not have to pay Mike White $50 million, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to pay him more than the league minimum that you're paying him right now. And when Prescott went for the Cowboys and people screamed to the heavens that he isn't worth that much, nobody's worth that. Well, yeah, the next guy's worth even more than that, and that's why Lamar is not worth 50, and that's why Kyler is worth 50, because that's the Arizona was in the same spot. Arizona either paid him or I can't draft a guy because I don't have the right draft pick.
Right. Well, and the Packers are kind of screwed in a way.
They're 100% because they got 1 year left on Jordan Love, and they have to either pick up a 5th-year option on a guy that they haven't
They
seen
saw
play
one
football.
season, and we better hope it's a full
he saw
17
one game.
games.
This
year. I'm talking about this year. This year alone, they have to figure out if
he gets hurt 3 weeks into the season, you're up the creek.
Or SOL.
Yeah,
and that part. Look, everyone is mad that Brian Gutekunst got Love. I'm not. We needed to draft a quarterback.
The Giants did this with Daniel Jones. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option, and he went out and played just good enough to put them behind the. Well, now he wants $40 million.
They shouldn't have paid him anyways. But
I agree. But what was the other option? They don't have. They made the playoffs, so their draft pick is not high enough to.
Colt McCoy,
Gardner Minshew, Cooper Rush.
You could have.
You could have seen Cooper Rush starting in 17 games.
And that's what these teams are going to have to start doing, is the Mike Whites and the Cooper Rushes and the guys that are the Gardner Minshews. That's what they're going to have to start doing. They're going to have to start bridging the gap and hoping, or do like the Dallas Cowboys did and draft the 4th rounder and hope he becomes Dak Prescott.
Yeah, you
draft
the
Mr. Irrelevant and hope that he becomes Brock Purdy. Draft the
guy
in the 8th round in the Tom Brady. Yeah, that's what you have to hope for these days, is that you can get 5 years at a minimal 5th round, 8th round salary and hope that he becomes a guy that can win 12 football games. If you can't do that, well, then you have 2 options: suck forever or pay $50 million.
That's
what the NFL has become. But Major League Baseball has become.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball has become, I'm not going to play unless you pay me $300 million. Manny Machado has had a $175 million contract. He said, I'm opting out of it. I'm opting out of $175 million because there's more money on the board. And basically told San Diego, I'm going to leave if you don't pay me. And they went, all right, here's $300 million.
Yeah,
and they gave him $300 million. And he might go out and blow his knee out tomorrow and never play another game, but make $300 million. That's what's in baseball. They're guaranteed that money.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Aaron Judge has to play no more games for the New York Yankees, and he's going to get that money. No more games.
Well, speaking of baseball, it's a great tie-in to opening day. Who is ready for some baseball? I know.
I'm not. I hate baseball.
I know I am. I have it. Now it's a little different between you guys because, okay, Jeff, you're Yankees. You got high expectations every year. You're tuning into a lot of games. Craig, your franchise historical. You may not have a great year this year, but you have that history behind you. Look at the Rangers. My goal for them last year was to be watchable, and they weren't. This year, they're going to be watchable. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go out, win our division, make playoffs. We'll be better this year. So I'm excited to see our pitching staff. I'm excited to see the team. I'm excited to see our new head coach. Manager, my bad. Our new manager. I'm excited to see some of those moves they made in the offseason. So I'm looking forward to it. I know we're not going to compete for a championship, and I know we're not going to make the playoffs, but we're going to see these young guys come up. I hope we see our farm system pitchers hit the major leagues and go from there. But I'm excited about those moves. Craig, we need to hit up a Ranger game this year because I haven't been to the new stadium yet, but we open it up against the Phillies at home this weekend. No, next weekend here. So that'll be an interesting opening up against the Phillies. So I know you guys are ready.
Who just lost a star outfielder.
Oh, who's that? Did they lose?
Hoskins.
Oh.
He blew his ACL yesterday.
Speaking of blowing injuries and stuff like that, World Baseball Classic. It was pretty entertaining this year. But if
It's entertaining every year.
I really haven't paid attention. But this year I was like, okay, awesome. You know, we made it to the championship round. We lost 3-2. It was Otani versus Trout at the plate. Doesn't get any better than that. But my major concern is these guys are getting season-ending injuries right before the season starts.
Altuve.
Gosh.
Me and Jeff talked about this on Friday night, and on Friday night, Altuve gets hit in the thumb, and he's out for 12 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
That
like,
night.
my God, you're
The guy from the closer from the Mets, old Tommy Trumpet Jr. over there,
done.
blows his patella
Done.
tendon, explodes his knee on a cellar. He wasn't even playing. He was celebrating a win,
Oh
jumping
my
around the
gosh.
field, and blows his knee out, celebrating.
And he's done.
And he's done.
I love that trumpet
Yeah.
though. When he played, that's pretty awesome. That is like
Yeah,
the best
But you
walk
won't hear
up.
it. You won't hear
Yeah.
it this year for 162 games because
Oh,
they'll be
that
playing it
sucks.
in the hospital bed because that's where he's going to be. And that's the thing is you release these guys out. When my guys
Yep.
don't go play, I as much as I love the World Baseball Classic and I love playing for your home country and putting the jersey on, I'm happy that none of my guys are going to miss 162 games
Yeah.
because of it. But in the defense, when they come back, they look at it and go, Reese Hoskins just blew his ACL in a spring training game. So it can happen in spring training or it
Yeah.
can happen. I mean, the Giants lost their guy, broken hand. Their starting pitcher. He hits a comebacker on the final day of spring training, final tune-up start, comebacker to the mound, breaks his hand, and he's out for, it happens.
Yeah, it's tough to have him go play that
But if you watch those guys play, the turning little bloops into doubles and triples because of
there was a lot of
way more effort into the World Baseball Classic than any spring training game.
They came out and played. They played with pride for the country. I mean,
it was World Series.
Love of the game.
Yes.
It was a love of the game type of thing instead of the money and the contracts.
Yes.
Just out there having fun.
And they're playing. They were playing under the old rules, so they were shifting all over the place still. And
I hate the shift.
and talk about trying to manage a World Baseball team when your pitcher can only throw 65 pitches. If the USA does not have if they don't run rule Canada and make the game 7 innings, they'd have had to forfeit because they wouldn't have had enough pitchers. Because you can only throw 65 pitches it's a international rule that you can only throw 65 pitches. They would have had to forfeit and wouldn't have made the next round, wouldn't have made the championship round, but they scored enough runs where the game was shortened by run rule. So that saved them.
So in terms of opening day, or not opening day, but just looking into this coming season, is there anything for your team that you're excited about? Upcoming players.
They got two. Well, they've got a situation on their hands. They had a guy. It's a rule. They got him in the Rule 5 draft, and so he has to stay on the roster, or he goes back to his old team. And they brought him in just for giggles, and now he's hitting 395 in spring training, and they're like, well, crap. Can you play outfield? Because we don't need a third catcher. Sure. So now they're trying to create a spot for him. They got Casey Schmidt. They go and promise this other guy, the third baseman. They're like, David Villar. Well, you were our third baseman last year, so you're going to be our starting third baseman. Well, Casey Schmidt comes up from what he should be in AAA this year. He's hitting 407 in spring training. They're like, well, crap. I don't know. And they go and sign Steven Piscotty to a minor league deal. He's a non-roster invitee. He's hitting a cool 412 in spring. Well, I don't know what we're going to do with all these guys. So now they have 7 guys for 3 spots. And so I don't know what they're going to do. I'm very excited for the roster and what it could be, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't very much give Blake Sable back to the Pittsburgh Pirates and go, well, you're hitting 400. Go hit it for the Pirates. No, don't want to do that. But I don't want to go and ruin the morale of my rookie catcher in Joey Bart, who was supposed to be the phenom of the franchise, and go send him down to the minor league because the Rule 5 guy has to stay on my roster or he goes back to the other team.
Yeah.
So you don't want to root for injuries for guys so other guys can play. But I mean, their pitching staff they've built a very solid pitching staff with Webb and Alex Wood, and they had the guy from Tampa. And I mean they're solid all the way through 1 through 5. Actually, they've talked about going 6 in the rotation, but then again that takes another roster spot. So it just and the way the season starts, they play Thursday and they're off Friday, so they're not using a lot of guys. Alex Cobb, Alex Wood, Webb. They signed. Oh, they got D. Scalafani back he had ankle surgery last year. So they've got 6 or 7 starters. They've got a solid bullpen. I just don't know lineup wise. They signed Mitch Haniger. He's got a oblique strain. He might make it back for a deal, but I mean, we'll see. But they're not the Dodgers. They're not San Diego. San Diego is going to be the juggernaut of that division. Try facing that lineup, 4 times with Machado and Tatis and the guy they got from Washington, the other big power hitter. Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Can't think of his name. It's on tip of my tongue though. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I mean,
and
then they have 4 or 5 pitchers, and it just that lineup is going to be brutal. The Dodgers actually, to me, took a step back.
Soto,
yeah, Juan Soto, Machado, Tatis. I mean, that lineup's brutal.
Out of all of them, Machado gives me a little worry.
Oh yeah.
In terms of like injury or longevity.
Well, and Tatis has
never
never been healthy, and he's going to still miss the first 30 games from the steroid suspension.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to my team, they have a shortstop thing going on. I think I heard today that Volpe is very possibly make the starter, which he would be if they made Volpe the starter. He'd be the youngest.
We'll find out because we play each other the opening 3 games.
So it's going to be interesting. Volpe is on fire. Today he had a 2-run jack right out the gate. He in terms of his offense, I don't think I'm not necessarily focused on that. But as a shortstop, as a defensive player, he's excellent. And so if they do start him, which I hope they do, a lot of fans have been waiting to see that. And so he'd be the youngest since Jeter to be starting at shortstop. So that'd be kind of cool to see. But yeah, that one thing is just, man, I wish they could just kind of speed up some of these guys coming up in from AA, AAA, because I'm just like, gosh, it takes so long.
It does,
and I'm like,
that's like one of the reasons like the draft in baseball is kind of like, cool, we'll see this guy in 6 years.
Basically.
Awesome,
yeah.
So
that's crazy.
That's if they check all the boxes, right away.
Right.
If they have a bad year or have an injury, well, now you're talking, you have to sign them to almost another contract before they see it's very rare to see the Juan Sotos and the guys that play at 18 and 19 years old and right away.
All right, guys. Well, it is that time to talk to you and ask you the question of what's in your locker. What's in your locker, Craig, this week?
Not much. Working tomorrow for a couple hours. But then it will be just basically doing some yard work, probably more NFL draft stuff. Trying to tie that up so I'm ready for the draft. But other than that, not a whole lot. Just gonna enjoy the half a day tomorrow and all day Sunday off. My son will be at a band thing all day tomorrow. They have a WGI indoor band competition that he's not participating in, but he's going to go help. So he'll be there from 8 in the morning till 9 or 10 at night. So it'll just be me. And hang out with the dogs and catch up on some draft stuff, and that'll be about it.
Nice.
What about you, Jeff?
Well, I'm hanging out with Aaron Rodgers in the darkness. No, never mind. I'm not. No, I'm just kind of trying to relax. We packed most of the stuff. We're just kind of, I have a couple of things to do this weekend with the writers group, and I think finished a cover for somebody for the writers group this last week. So trying to actually been hearing on and off, just unfortunately playing Madden. And I've actually played a little bit more God of War, getting through that, which is any kind of spare time I have, I'll do that. So the wife and I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge. Played some of that. That's pretty cool. And I think we're going to be playing some of that this weekend. But outside of that, just ready to move, ready to get the ball rolling on this, working like normal. And that's it. What's going on, Brian?
All right. Well, this might be just a second here because last week I was on vacation. So that was fun. We went out to it's so dark. I don't have a light. My light broke. Sorry. We went on vacation. We went out to East Texas to my brother-in-law's out to Mineola, Texas, and I found out that at 35 years of age, I am allergic to out wherever they live. I am, and and so that was fun. We went out there, and then we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, with just me, the wife, and a friend and her boyfriend went out and had had a good week. We went out to Hot Springs. We went out to the Botanical Gardens, which is like way better than ours. It's more of out in nature, and tall trees, and a lot of different things. And we went to the hot springs, and it was pretty cold. Like we wake up and it was in the 20s in the mornings and 50, and it was kind of one of those things where if you're in the shade, you're cold, but if you're in the sun, it feels pretty good. But it's crazy because it was a little chilly where you'd go and stick your hands in the hot spring water, and it's like a hot tub. You're like, oh man, I could jump out. I could, jump in right now in a hot tub. It'd be pretty nice. But back to work this week, learning manager stuff. It's been a crazy week, but a crazy Friday. This week I work tomorrow as well. Get to see what managers do on a Saturday. And then we went out. Oh, we went out to this place, Jeff. I wish you were here because I think you'd really enjoy it. It's called Cidercade. It's a $10 all-you-can-play arcade, and the thing is, like, huge. All you can play. We played Blitz, NBA Jam, shooting baskets. We played pool. It was pretty sick. It's for $10, it was best $10 you could spend. We had a good time doing that, and then tomorrow night we're going out for kind of a celebratory dinner for me getting a promotion, but have dinner, and then Sunday will be church, and that's just resting up for next week. That's about it on my end. That's about it. But yeah, I had a light up here and it stopped working. And unless I have my notes up where there's a white screen, then it's pretty dark.
So you're not doing the negotiation talk with Rogers right now in the darkness.
In the darkness. No, okay. I wish I'd tell him hurry up. And hurry up, move along. Well, guys, it was a good show. Almost an hour and a half. It's good timing. So we will be back next Friday. I'm going to try. I've been putting out more TikToks. I don't know if you guys have seen those roll through on Facebook and stuff. I'll do a TikTok and I'll shoot it over to Facebook.
You can
So-
put those on YouTube too.
Yeah, I need to.
You can
I
put
need
them
to.
as shorts.
Yeah, I need to do that. You are correct on that. I haven't done that yet. I'm excited to look into what is Streamlabs. I want
Yes.
to
I'm still
get their
messing around with
mobile
that stuff.
app. I want to get that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. But all right, guys. Well, it's a great show. Glad to be back. Me and Craig will probably do a show on Tuesday. If you can this week, Craig, because we started off. We asked these questions before the season started. I got the AFC teams, Craig got the NFC teams, and we kind of asked the questions. What's the questions they got to answer before the season starts? And we went through at the end and on the NFC list on who did they answer the questions. What was the question? Did they answer it this year? And we still got to do the AFC teams before it gets too late. So we'll probably pop out an episode on that on Tuesday, and then all three will be back on Friday. But you guys enjoy your weekends. Sounds like a lot of relaxing we're going to be doing. And then God bless, guys. And remember,
Keep it
Keep it outspoken.